Hello everyone. Welcome to our second video where we will address common myths and facts about HIV. How well do you know HIV? Let's find out through a series of questions. After each question, I will ask you to pause the video, write down your answer, and then discuss it. Let's get started. First slide. HIV can be transmitted through kissing. Is it a myth or a fact? It's a myth. HIV cannot be transmitted through casual contact, such as kissing, hugging, or sharing utensils. In the next video, you will learn more about HIV transmission routes.
HIV is a virus, an abbreviation for human immunodeficiency virus. The virus weakens the immune system. As a result, the body cannot defend itself well against pathogens. HIV can be transmitted in several ways: through unprotected sex, via semen and vaginal fluids, transmission from mother to child, blood-to-blood contact, intravenous drug use, and blood transfusion. When HIV enters the body, it seeks to replicate itself. To do this, it uses an immune cell, the CD4 cell. This cell is very important in the immune system. HIV searches for these CD4 cells in the blood. With a matching key, it can enter the cell. Then HIV uses the cell to copy itself. The instructions for copying are contained in the RNA, the genetic material that HIV carries. So it can be integrated into the DNA of the CD4 cell. This process of converting RNA to DNA is called reverse transcription. Since this conversion from RNA to DNA doesn't always happen the same way, HIV changes a little bit each time. The HIV DNA becomes the part of the DNA of the CD4 cell. This cell is now programmed to produce the building blocks for the new HIV particles. And it assembles the new HIV particles. The new HIV particles leave the cell and search for other CD4 cells to continue replicating. The CD4 cell that was used is destroyed. More and more cells become infected with HIV and produce new HIV particles. After a while, so many CD4 cells are destroyed that the body's immune system no longer functions properly. All kinds of conditions, including opportunistic infections, then have an opportunity. This stage of the disease is called AIDS. HIV does not go away on its own. However, with medication, it is possible to prevent the virus from replicating further. You then don't get seriously ill and don't transmit the virus to others. In everyday life, HIV cannot be transmitted, even if the virus is not suppressed. People with HIV can simply do their jobs anywhere, for example in healthcare, hospitality, education, or the food industry. Standard hygiene guidelines are sufficient to prevent the transmission of infectious diseases.
Let's go to the next question. The incidence of sexual transmitted infections has increased during the full onset of war because of reduced access to care. Is it a myth or a fact? It's a fact. The impact of war on sexual reproductive health and rights services and access to care is significant. Conflicts disrupt healthcare infrastructure, making it harder for people to access necessary medical services, including those for sexually transmitted infections and HIV. Reduced access to care leads to a lack of regular screenings, delayed treatments, and insufficient availability of preventive measures like condoms and educational resources. This creates a fertile ground for the increase of STIs, including HIV. Next slide. The number of AIDS cases is increasing since the full onset of war because there are no medicines to prevent HIV turning into AIDS. Is the myth or a fact? It's a myth. While it is true that conflicts can disrupt the supply chain and access to medicines, therapy that prevents HIV from progressing to AIDS is fortunately still available. When one takes the HIV medication in a correct way, the viral load comes down to an undetectable level. And undetectable means untransmissible. HIV will not be transmitted to someone else during unprotected sexual contact, and it reduces the risks of getting HIV while sharing needles or syringes. Pre-exposure prophylaxis, also PrEP, is a highly effective medication that can prevent HIV infection when taken as prescribed. PrEP is available in Ukraine and has been part of the national HIV prevention strategy. The Ukrainian government and various non-governmental organizations have been working to expand access to PrEP, especially among key populations at higher risk of HIV infection, such as men who have sex with men, sex workers, and people who inject drugs. Therapy that prevents HIV from progressing to AIDS is fortunately still available. However, receiving treatment first requires knowing one's HIV status, and access to diagnostics may be jeopardized due to the war. In the next video, we will explain how HIV therapy works.
HIV uses CD4 cells to replicate itself. These cells then get destroyed. This weakens the immune system. HIV medication, also known as HIV inhibitors, ensures that no new HIV particles are produced. At 4 points in the cycle of HIV replication, these medications intervene. This is the cycle shown simply. The HIV particle attaches itself to the CD4 cell. The HIV RNA is copied into HIV DNA. The HIV DNA is inserted into the cell's DNA. New HIV particles are made to infect other cells. All these phases can be disrupted by medication. Entry inhibitors. These prevent HIV from binding to and entering the cell. Reverse transcriptase inhibitors prevent the conversion of HIV RNA into HIV DNA. Integrase inhibitors ensure that HIV DNA cannot be integrated into the DNA of the CD4 cell. Protease inhibitors disrupt the construction of the new HIV particles. This treatment of HIV involves using several of these HIV inhibitors together. This is called combination therapy. Whether the virus is well suppressed is checked with blood test. This blood test measures the amount of HIV RNA. This is called the viral load. The lower the viral load, the better the virus is suppressed. With a suppressed viral load, there is much less active virus in your body. Your immune system improves, you don't get sick anymore. And you also do not transmit the virus sexually to others.
Thank you for participating in this myth-busting session. Understanding the realities of HIV symptoms, diagnostics, and prevalence is crucial for providing better care and reducing stigma. By addressing these myths, we can improve awareness and encourage more proactive approaches to HIV prevention and treatment. Keep these facts in mind as you continue your important work in healthcare.